Well, hey, and welcome to another episode of Beetle Dustino coming at you again today with yet another video. And yet, in a very long time, it's been another 10 from the Rents video. So just kind of showing you a rundown of my parents' record collection that's kind of got passed down to me. Pretty interesting collection. It's kind of what shaped me too, because I used to listen to all these records when I first really got big into music. I would listen to these. Dad would play them for me when I was real young, and then as I got a little older and learned how to put them on the player myself and everything, I'd sit and listen to them all. And really kind of interesting too, because they lived in Germany for a while, so some of them are kind of British and German pressing, so I always find that interesting when I find those in here. But anyways, let's see more of that after the intro. So yes, I have not done this in ages, so long so I had to go and rewatch my last episode to see where I ended off before, because I kind of got it mixed up in the collection there. And I thought I had these ordered pretty right, kind of alphabetized to that. And yeah, I'm all over the place. They're not how I would order them now. But let's see how we get going with this. And we're going to start with Dean Martin, it looks like. And this is For the Good Times. I guess I know his music. I know like his big stuff, but nothing off of here really. I know I listened to this one day. It's very Dean Martin. There's the track list there. Let's see. This one, I was surprised because a lot of my parents, I always used to think none of my parents' records had inner sleeves. Well, this one's got an inner sleeve. It's just a plain white one, but still inner sleeve nonetheless. Let me see if I get this right for once. It's on the Reprise label. I think I got that right this time. Which does make sense, because wasn't that Frank Sinatra's label, right? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments there. But I'm pretty sure that was Frank Sinatra's label, so member of the Rat Pack being on his label doesn't shock me. I think it's such a cool label too, that kind of orangish, brownish label. Pretty cool. Now this next one I'm a little confused about. I'm not really sure. I've never really heard of this person, but it's a really interesting cover on it and everything. And it's Bits and Pieces Rod McEwen. I think I said that right. Let me know, is this worth listening to? I don't think this is one I wouldn't listen to. Well, there was the front, the back. Yeah, you can see the spine pretty decent there. Let's see, this one I think had a really cool inner sleeve. I think there's only one of these that doesn't have an inner sleeve. Kind of interesting here, this Decca, New World of Sound on Decca. Let's see. Spoken word, folk, country and western, organ, instrumentals, or instrumentalist, there we go. Piano, and then on the back here we got Hawaiian music even. Pretty interesting little sleeve there, inner sleeve, and a really cool Decca label, and very interesting on this because this is from my dad to my mom. There was a friend of hers that used to give her a lot of the records, and I'd see his name all over these, but this one's got his name on it, so pretty interesting on that. And I think that Decca labels, I showed the other one real quick there because it's got their names on it, but there is that. I think that's a really cool Decca label on that. Then up next, this one kind of surprised me looking at the date on it. It's 85, I think it came out, and it's a promotional copy here of Joni Mitchell and his Dog Eat Dog. Really interesting cover there. There's the spine and the back. And I think my dad was in the Air Force, and I remember he would go to these squadron parties and stuff, and he'd come home. They'd give prizes out at the party and that, and he'd come home every now and then with a record. And I know he had a Bob Dylan one that was like this, and then this one I'm kind of suspecting is like that too, because I don't remember them buying a lot of records when we were. I think they had built their collection pretty much before BK, I guess, before kids, before children, I guess we could say BC. So seeing any past when me and my sisters were born is kind of interesting, and I guess I've just never really thought of Joni Mitchell as being, and I know you had another one that was sealed yet, I think I showed in one of the last episodes. I think I've shown that Bob Dylan one too that he had. It was a little newer, and it seemed like that had a promotional copy thing on it. And this is kind of interesting with the sleeve. I hope this isn't one of those that does bad to your record collection, but I don't see any damage to this. It looks perfectly new. It looks almost like it's never been played. A little bit of dust on it, but otherwise it's pretty good. But there's side one on the Geffen Records. Cool looking label to a degree, but it's kind of plain with just all black. and just that little bit of silverish gold it kind of looks like now. I don't know. But interesting there. But yeah, that was the only time I ever remember him bringing records home, was when he'd go to those squadron parties. And I'm pretty sure this is one that he got from there, because I don't know where they would have been finding promo copies like this. My parents were into music and everything, but they weren't that big of nerds into it. They're like, oh, let's find that cool promo copy of an album. I don't think that was them. This one, I think Matthew Street's going to be excited to see. I know he's been one that's quite championed Olivia Newton-John here. And really nice one. Greatest hits. Olivia Newton-John, ONJ. And nice gatefold on this one. I'm surprised how new it looks. I mean, yeah, it has got some damage to it from sitting in the basement over the years, but it seems like it's some from the 80s. And as I got looking at it, this is 77, so I guess it's getting close there. 77 on it, but there's the gatefold with everything. We do get an inner sleeve, but kind of interesting, just MCA records all over the place on it. MCA. And there's, as you could probably already see it through there, but there's side 1 anyway. And then side 2. And then I always see people digging through record crates. It seems like this is one of those albums I always see in there, is this Donny Osmond album. The Donny Osmond album, there we go. And this one you'll see on the back has got some pretty bad stainage. Ugh, not good on that. But surprisingly, it's also got an inner sleeve, but just plain white inner sleeve. And MGM Records label on this one. It's kind of a cool one. That gold and blue. There's side 1 and side 2 on it. And I believe this one is also one from my dad to her. I think the ink is a little faded on this one, but I can see it on there. I saw it earlier when I looked at them just a bit ago. But yeah, that's one for my dad also. And like I said at the beginning, it's interesting to find in their collection, they always got a British pressing or a German pressing or something. And next 2 are both German pressings, both by the same artist. But Peter, Paul, and Mary, on the Warner Brothers label, both of these are going to be. Really kind of interesting, though. And interesting at the top here, I found it says like new, and it says 11/4/76. So maybe they didn't even get this in Germany. Maybe they picked it up at a garage sale on base where we lived here in North Dakota. But there's the front, the back. I think I showed you the spine there too. And I remember I played one of these Peter, Paul, and Mary ones, and they did not work. And I think I found there was a decent scratch on this one. Maybe this is the one. I don't remember this next one if I ever played. But it is a German pressing on that Warner Brothers label. Really kind of interesting, that green and orange and blue. Interesting on that. There's the front, or the side 1 and side 2. You can see Gemma there. And you always know when you got those German ones because they're real thin cardboard, but real glossy too. This one, no, at one point it was pretty glossy. This is kind of an interesting package on this one, though. It's Peter, Paul, and Mary, the most beautiful songs of Peter, Paul, and Mary. There we go. And see, this one's a little thick. This is a double album on this one. Also on the Warner Brothers label. Also German pressing. So you have the label there, and there maybe you can see that it says printed in Germany. And then you pull it out of here. It's kind of that double thick. It's not a gatefold, but it's got kind of a sleeve inside, or a gatefold inside of a jacket there. So we got almost kind of another jacket, because this is about the same thickness as of that cardboard. And it gatefolds open, but it has a couple of pockets to kind of hold the records here. But I'll hold it there just a little slower. I don't know how well I showed this or this. Hold it one more time, and then we'll do the gatefold one more time. And show you the pictures there and what all it says. Make sure my fingers are out of the way. And there is that side. Let's take a look at disc 1, and just kind of a plain white inner sleeve again. And there's side 1, disc 1, and then side 2. And then again, the plain white inner sleeve, both on that same greenish label, from that last one to this one. So there's side 3, and then side 4 here. And the next one, another one that I'm not really sure who it is, but it's Sandy Posey, Looking at You. Let's see here. There's the front, the spine, the back on the MGM records again. I think this has got that same label as that other one, but really interesting on this inner sleeve. The Sounds of Now on MGM records. Yeah, it's just kind of a really cool bunch of artwork here. There's the back side of it. Yeah, again, that gold and blue MGM label. I just love looking at these old record labels. I wish that all CDs were printed with these type of labels on them. I think that would be so much better for CDs. Then up next we got the Gary Puckett and the Union Gap's Greatest Hits on the Columbia label on this one. And there's the front. This is another one I always see when people do crate digging. Seems like it's always in the crates on this particular one. And we do got inner sleeve Epic Columbia. And the back on this I found was really interesting. It's got a bunch of color posters, as you can see there. And down here we got George and John. There, of course, Beatle Dustino has to find a Beatles connection to everything. And then we got 3 just Beatles posters here. It looks like Sgt. Pepper's, just the Beatles, it says. And All You Need Is Love, all kind of Yellow Submarine-ish. I think up here, too, there's an All Together Now one. I can't tell for sure, but that kind of looks a little Beatle-y. It's definitely an All Together Now is one of their songs. But yeah, some other cool stuff on there too. I see Santana, Bob Dylan, all kinds of cool stuff here. The Byrds. Let you look at that just a bit longer there. The Columbia label. I'm going to try to hide her, which also hides the label there. But you'll see side 2, pretty much the same. And breezing right through this one, we're down to the last one. Another one I always see with crate digging is a Timepiece, the Rascals Greatest Hits. And interesting on this, I'm going to hold it up the correct way, but that would be right, but it's sideways, isn't it? I don't know, something like that. Well, I suppose it all perspective, I suppose, isn't it? There it's right, I don't know. I got it all upside down and everywhere. And this is a gatefold, I almost forgot that. And I told you, we're on the 10th record, and I said there was only one without an air sleeve, and that would be this one. And on a really cool Atlantic Records label. One I'm not really familiar with. That's kind of cool, that green, white, and blue. There's side 1 and then side 2. But yeah, really kind of cool. A little bit of something on it there. Get that off of there. And yeah, I think this one really needs to get cleaned up. But yeah, cool record label there. And that is the 10 from the Rents. So there we go. I'm going to try not to go as long between these next time. I know they don't get a lot of views. That's why I kind of drag my feet on it. But it is fun to look at. It is fun to see. I seem to get a lot of comments on these too. Not a lot of views, but a lot of comments. People do kind of help me out. Like I said, I got some questions on it all. I didn't grow up during that time, so but I've always had them in my life, so I guess I should know that. But they've always been there for me to listen to and enjoy. And unfortunately, for a while, they got kind of set to the side and maybe a little abused here sitting in the basement. But I'll try to preserve them where they're at. They do play fine usually. There's 1 or 2 that don't play, but not many. Most of them play pretty good. So anyways, I am going to get totally wrapping up, though, before I get rambling too much here, as I got some more videos I want to film yet this weekend. And before I do get fully wrapping up, I do want to thank all my subscribers, and thanks to you new subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and do hit the notification bell so you know when I got my next video coming out, like my next 10 from the Rents, or what's in the box, or what's on the rack. I think we're almost done with what's on the rack, but we're going to do kind of a spin on it coming up here, because I've showed you everything pretty much on this rack except for one section. So, but I got loads of other stuff to show, so I think I'll just fill in racks and do it there. And look at me rambling here. Oh boy, I better get stopping here. But I didn't get to my dad's favorite part, speaking of 10 from the Rents. He always loves this part. But if you do like the video, please give it a like. And like I always say, if you've stuck around to this part, you must like it, so please give it a like. And do leave a comment. I love having a discussion with everybody. Let me know your thoughts on these records. If any of the questions I had out there, just let me know. Or if there was something that it seems like I missed, just let me know also. Let me know your thoughts on these. I know there was a couple of those artists I wasn't really sure of. Let me know if they're worth listening to. Like I said, I've listened to a lot of these, but not all of them. So there's definitely ones, if I guess I've never heard of them, I'm probably not going to put them on. Or maybe I will put them on just to see what the heck they're all about. I guess I haven't on those ones yet. But anyways, just let me know in the comments there. Be looking forward to the next 10 from the rents. I think we're going to have some Rolling Stones coming up in the next one. I was kind of shocked there wasn't any huge names. Olivia Newton-John, I guess. Like I said, Matthew Street, I know I like that one. But but yeah, just be looking forward to that next one there. I think I should have some interesting ones in that next one. So I think some Cat Stevens is in there too, if I'm not mistaken. If the Stones are coming up, I know he's coming up too, because I got it as S for Stevens, and definitely not Y for Yusaf Islam, or or I for Yusaf Islam. So I don't know. All right, and I am rambling. I'm going to cut it off. I am going to sign off totally. I am Beetle Dustino signing off. Or do I sign out? I usually sign out. Wow, signing out.